Hi, my name is Aaron with G3 Gestalt Gaming and Geekdom, and we're here today for what we're going to call Comics on the Couch with Grandpa. That's me. We're going to review some comics every week. This week I picked out 7 to review, 2 from last week, and 5 of them from this week. Kind of to get a feel for what's going on in the two universes right now, and is a good jumping in point for our comic book review. This week we have Civil War 2, number 1, and Captain America, number 1, from Marvel. For DC, we're going to do DC Universe Rebirth, as well as all 4 of this week's Rebirth titles: Batman, Superman, Green Arrow, and Green Lantern. Let's start off with, actually we'll start off with Marvel, since there's not a lot that I'm doing with Marvel this week. Just not a whole lot that I'm feeling with Marvel that I was feeling to review. So we'll start with Civil War 2. Now first off, I got the variant cover for it. Well, one of the variant covers. You know, with Marvel there's going to be 3, 4, 500 different variant covers. And I gotta say, I love the artwork initially. Opening the book, there's a lot of sequences in here that I really, really enjoyed. The little spread here with the Inhumans was very nice. And to be completely honest, let me see if I can find it here just real quick. There is another hero spread that I absolutely loved. And it was this one here. You know, I know there's a lot of controversy. A lot of people don't like female Thor, Jane Foster Thor, you know, Jane Thorstore, W-H-O-R, whatever you want to call her. I love her character. I've been reading all of her books, and I'm really enjoying them. But this little page right here, where she's leading all the Marvel heroes in, it's great. A lot of people already know the big, cataclysmic event that kind of starts it all off, the loss of life. This time, instead of, destroying an entire school with Nitro, they opted to just kill off 2, B-list Avengers. Maybe even C-list Avengers, depending on who you're talking to. And so, as anyone who had actually read Civil War 0 knows, or Civil War Free Comic Book Day, Rhodey gets killed by Thanos. And one of Rhodey's rockets inadvertently misfires on Jen Walters, or She-Hulk. And so She-Hulk goes down. Rhodey being War Machine, for those of you, at home who don't follow comics as closely. I could make a million rationale comments on the concept that a single rocket from Rhodey downed She-Hulk, but I'm not going to even address that part right now. That whole issue with Thanos coming in was kind of obscure. A lot of people have been kind of rattling on him, how to get taken down so easily. Well, if you consider who he was going up against, the full team of the Ultimates, that's a powerhouse team. Blue Marvel alone is kind of a beast. He's right there on Hyperion level, if not a little bit farther up there. As far as Civil War 2 is going, though, for issue 1, I'll be honest, I loved the original Civil War. But Marvel's most recent cash grab at capitalizing on the names of one of its movie properties, I'm not feeling it. The Inhuman play that they got going on, hey, it's an Inhuman, let's, capitalize off their name and make them the new X-Men. That's cool, but not really interested. I get that Marvel's trying to do a big cash grab with a lot of its, movie properties and, the MCU, continuity as a whole, which is cool, but it's not really for me. I will say that it's well written. I don't really have a problem with the writing so much as the style that the book is, or the direction the book is going in. The fact that it really needed to have another Cap versus Iron Man to make it Civil War, but you couldn't have it be Captain America. Now it had to be Captain Marvel. And she has this brief moment where she confesses love to Tony on some level, but she loves Rhodey. And it's a whole kind of, it's a muddying of the waters for the characters. Let's get Rhodey and, Carol back together for 15 minutes so that his death has some actual polarizing weight to it. And it just felt very cheap. There's also a line of dialogue in the book where they're talking about morality, and Tony cuts himself off. He's like, "No, you know what? I'm not having a conversation on morality. Not right here. Not with you, Steve. That never goes well with us." It's a huge reference to the original Civil War, which was kind of humorous. But when you consider the big bombshell at the end of Captain America 1, it makes the idea of anyone having even remotely a discussion on morals with Captain America any more laughable. And with that, I guess I would give Civil War 2, where it's at right now, a 3 out of 5. And I'm giving it a solid 3 with some hope that it's going to get better. There was a lot of movement and a lot of plot, prep going on. I'm really hoping that the next issues are better. I mean, and going with the Cap comment, kind of going right into Captain America #1, I'm not going to say much about my actual thoughts on the book as a Cap fan. I'm going to strictly review it as a book itself, and save my thoughts on the book for a second video. But just looking right here at it, this is the cover for it. It's a very hopeful cover. You've got, Cap, and you've got Bucky, and you've got everybody, and they're running together. They're doing it as a team. It's this very hopeful book setup that they have going on here. And throughout the book, they give you this weird sensation. There's like this weird pseudo black and white storyline going on of Steve's childhood, and in the background is this woman who's talking to Steve's mom as a child, and it's a weird ploy, and you're not really sure what they're going at through the whole book. Cap seems like Cap, and as they get to the end of the book, you start to get to this, little giveaway, which I'm sure as everyone who has read it now has seen, Captain America's a Nazi. Here's my problem with the book. As an objective comic book reviewer, I very much enjoyed this issue. Not as a Cap fan, mind you, but as someone who appreciates a good story writing. I mean, the one big issue I had was the very, very, very obvious reference to Donald Trump being a Nazi. Because mainstream social media hasn't called, Donald Trump Hitler enough times. Now we're getting it in our comic books. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not the biggest Trump fan on the planet here, but it just seemed very heavy-handed to outright basically compare him to a Nazi with the rhetoric you're getting from the Red Skull. My other small issue is that they made Baron Zemo seem like such a punk ass. His setup, everything that was going on with him in this book just seemed very lame. I'm hoping for great things because Steve Rogers, Captain America #1, it was written well, and I can't fault them for the reveal at the end. The Hail Hydra has done exactly what you want a comic book to do, and that is to draw attention to the book, to bring in people who would never read it. Because I'll tell you this right now, there's a lot of people I know out there who have never read a comic book who have a whole bunch of opinions on Captain America right now. And they're going in on it. It's a well-written story. The artwork is very good. I mean, just looking at it here, that's an amazing cover. I mean, I can't cite Spencer for writing the way that he wants to write. Whether my opinions on him aside, the book itself is a very good book. It is easily better than Civil War 2 was. I would sit it right there at a solid 4, if not 4.5 out of 5, just for doing what a comic book should do, and that is engaging the reader. I mean, people might not like what he's saying, but at the very end of the day, that got a lot of attention. I'm not saying I like it, but, man, when's the last time you guys heard a Captain America book generate this kind of, traffic for Marvel? It's been a while. And, I mean, the fact is that this Captain America book is overshadowing the most recent Captain America movie in regards to how it's being viewed by the media. So they've done something with it, whether it's something right or not, remains to be seen. That's all I'm doing for Marvel today. We're going to move right into DC with an event that I'm very excited for, if not a little bit nervous about. And that is DC Rebirth. It's a heavy book. It's got some heft to it. It's $2.99 price tag. I can't hate that. And we're going to compare that over here with Captain America #1, which is a much lighter book. It laid off the carbs and is $4.99. So there's, that $2 difference. Civil War 1, being a Civil War 2 #1 being a $6 book and being roughly the same size as Rebirth, just shows you the difference in prices on those. Now let's get right into Rebirth. Now Rebirth, there's something about the cover that is very heavy-handed. It's got me feeling some kind of way, I'll be completely honest about it. It's very bleak. I mean, it wraps all the way around, to its credit. It's a full front and back cover. But something about it feels almost kind of, plain. Which, for this book, ends up working for it because it really builds to something. As you're reading it, there's this build-up. You're not expecting much from the cover. You're hoping for a lot, but not expecting a whole bunch. Now, the cover, what a lot of people haven't really pointed out, is that many, many people have been sitting there trying to attribute this spark here to Wally West. Yes, Wally West, the original Wally West, makes his return in this book. Very excited. A huge Wally fan. One of my favorite DC characters. Him and, really the whole Flash family. Zoom, even the Rogues. The Rogue Zoom, Flash family. Zoom, Zolomon, all of those guys. Well, Zoom, Thawne, whatever you want to call him. And then Barry, of course. I've always liked the Flash family. Jay Garrick is probably my favorite, speedster in DC, but I've always liked them. And so when they brought him back, that was exciting. Now, what people have been attributing this to on the cover is Wally West, because Wally West does come back with, that Speed Force lightning, the yellow energy, the explosive yellow energy of the Speed Force. But I would point out that Wally's glove is red. That's a white hand, or almost an off-white blue. Now that goes a lot farther into the big reveal of DC Rebirth, starting off with this little watch right here, as Wally tells a story that's very similar to another DC-owned, but outside the DC multiverse character. Well, at least outside until now. Because as you're going through the book, you're seeing more and more from different characters. And here's where they got me. I have developed a fondness for the new character Pandora from DC. And they show you her final moments in this book. Pay very close attention. If you're a storied comic book fan, that death will seem very familiar to you. But the big tell sign comes in the last pages of the book. We have Batman in his Batcave. And finally, we're taken to Mars. Right? And we get a dialogue box that pops up. I did the right thing, didn't I? It all worked out in the end? In the end. Nothing ends, Adrian. Nothing ever ends. That is a wonderful final line of dialogue from the Watchmen. The implication here is that the main big bad, the man who's been stealing, who stole years from our heroes and caused the Flashpoint paradox and all those issues, is actually none other than Dr. Manhattan. Now, as a fan of Watchmen, that excites me endlessly. As a fan of good comic book writing, it scares the shit out of me. Because where the hell were they? Where were you hiding of being that powerful? Don't get me wrong, I've argued on the side of Dr. Manhattan being an absolute steamroller of a character for years. And I only got more, staunch in my defense of his abilities as before Watchmen came out. But this is beyond anything I would have ever pegged him for. This is outside the norm of what I'd expect. And for me, that was the big reveal. Is that, oh, look, Watchmen's now part of the DC universe or multiverse again. Isn't that exciting? For me, not really. I never needed them to be. They were fine off in their own little universe, playing superhero and playing bald Jesus. That's Osterman for you in a nutshell. I don't need him over here touching Superman in naughty places. I don't need it. It's not for me. Why? Why are you doing this? But as I read it again, I started to appreciate some of the subtleties to it. And the show stealer here is Wally, and his narrative of the characters, and how he explains what's being lost, what's being forgotten, and you can tell even he's building to something else as well. And it really is a show stealer for it. You see him sitting here talking there, the Justice Society, you're sitting there, you get Ted, you get the Atom is back, Ray Palmer, the original Atom, doing all kinds of crazy shit. It's exciting. Amy Reyes with Ted Kord the Blue Beetle working together, and Dr. Fate shows up, but not Dr. Fate from Earth 2, Sparkly Pants Dr. Fate. No. This is Dr. Fate. The way you knew him, the way you wanted him, the way you had to have him. He's exciting. We have another Green Lantern from Earth. We have so many questions about why Aqualad had to be gay. Not, as I try to explain to people, I'm not against the character shift. My favorite character for Earth 2 is Alan Scott. I mean, and I'm a person who loved Jade. I absolutely loved the character Jade, so when they made Alan Scott gay and basically said that Jade doesn't get to exist because of it, I was like, well, sad panda. But they made Alan Scott interesting, and I really enjoyed it. I just don't understand the logic behind making this character gay. It seems like, Marvel made Bobby Drake gay, let's make Aqualad gay too. I don't know, invent a new character. Give me someone new to connect with and go through their experiences with them, not someone who's already established and gone through some shit, I guess. Look, we're showing Darkseid again, and the big reveal for Wonder Woman. Her biggest part in this whole book is like 3 dialogue boxes where they explain that she has a twin brother. How long has Wonder Woman been around? And this never came up before. This is not Rebirth at all. This is a new birth. They're not rebirthing anything. This is, poof, it's new. It's brand new. It's here. It's in your face. It's ready. And Superman, he done died. And it's upsetting. And it really is to me because I have grown to love New 52 Superman. I really have. I thought that he was very interesting as a character compared to older versions of Superman because he was very flawed. And, I liked the times where I got to see him have a bit of his ego. I thought he was a flawed character, but at the end of the day, he was still Superman. And I'm not a Superman fan. I'm not. But I was enjoying him. But I'm also enjoying what they're doing with old school Supes, from our universe coming back. There's a lot of good to it. But I feel like reinventing Superman, giving him all this new backstory, making fans like him, just to kill him and say, we're giving you back your old Superman, and that's about all you're getting. I mean, it felt like the world's biggest middle finger to me, personally. Mr. Oz and his cryptic messages, that's Superman, and you are not who and what you think you is. Oh, I see. But, there's a lot going on. The moment with Wally and Linda, where that's his lightning rod, that's how he's going to get brought back. They addressed it with Barry and his wife before, and it's always that lightning rod, that person they love more than anyone. That is their rod that brings them back. She'll remember me. She will be the one person who remembers me when I show up. And she looks at him and says, I don't know you. And the way they captured that absolutely crushing moment in the following panels was perfect. Tragic and perfect. And for it to be Barry, to be the one to finally pull Wally back, to remember him, to remember everything, that was something phenomenal to me. DC Rebirth as a whole, it has me very scared. Because let me tell you this right now. I hate DC and their fucking crisis events. Pardon my French. Sorry, Doug. But I hate their crisis events. Because they just reset everything. And Final Crisis was Final Crisis, the last crisis event. Then after Final Crisis happened, they said, well, how about Flashpoint? Another retconning event? It's not a crisis event, though. It's a crisis event. You don't have to call a duck. It still quacks, flaps, and swims. It's a duck. Well, what about this next one? Convergence. So another crisis event. No. It's not a crisis event. It even refers to itself in its pages as a crisis event and calls Crisis on Infinite Earths the first crisis. Well, that doesn't make this one a crisis event. DC, God, you're full of shit. So when they announced Rebirth, I was like, oh, another crisis event. And following the pseudo-crisis event, Darkseid War. Can't wait. So happy. So, with that, we're going to take a brief break for messages from our sponsors and from the rest of the team here at G3. And we'll be back with the remaining 4 books in our Wednesday comic review. Comics on the Couch with Grandpa. Hi, everyone. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Levi.
And we're G3. Well, we're part of G3. We're not all of G3. We are
G2.
I think we need to actually come up with a name for when it's just like 1 or 2 G's.
Just the two of us.
Now, how about this? When it's the 2 of us, we're G2. But when I'm by myself, I'm the OG. I think it works. But no, we're here to talk to you today about some of our wonderful sponsors and the people that we like to promote on our page today. We're going to start off with Death Battle Homies on Facebook. You can catch them at Death Battle Homies on Facebook.
Is that where they're at? I would have never guessed.
Facebook.
It's
where you book faces, I assume. I'm from a different generation.
Is Buffalo Bill a fan of Facebook?
Well then, moving along from that dark quip. You can go there, you can meet some interesting people, some fun people, and they will help talk you through different debates with different characters. It's a great time. If you've got Death Battle, you can get your Death Battle on with the homies. Just know, no girls allowed.
It's not true. I've seen like 2.
Dude, it's the equivalent of the Little Rascals He-Man Woman Haters Club.
Right, yeah.
There's never been so much phallic rage in a page.
Welcome to the rage on the page.
No, in all fairness, it's a great group of guys and gals. If you like that kind of stuff, you'll really enjoy the page. Very nice people. Give them a check out. Also, in preparation of July 29th at Wizard World Columbus, we are promoting Legacy Rising Publications, a phenomenal new publisher out of Columbus, Ohio. They have great talent and great books. Some of the talent, Mike Watson.
Good people.
Victor Dandridge.
Yep.
Luke Herr. Micah Cox. All kinds of great talent they got working on there, and even more. And they have some great books. Hot Shot, Vigilance, Heroes International. They're dropping 2 more books at their premiere in July. It's at Wizard World Columbus in the Columbus Convention Center. If you're in Central Ohio, look them up. Or head over to Legacy Rising Publications on Facebook. You can order the books, and they'll ship them right to your door. Phenomenal guys.
I don't know if any of our people have spent any time on Webtoons, but I know Hot Shot's up there.
You can find Hot Shot on Webtoon as well. That's a good point.
In case you want to, dip your beak in before you go out and pick up the actual comics, because, not guaranteed that the new stuff's going to be right up on Webtoons. We don't know if
all I'm going to say is I fully support anyone taking a look at it on Webtoon.
Yeah.
Because it's the great book. If you read it once, you're going to want to own the copies.
Oh, yeah.
That book has gotten the holy empanadas from everybody in our podcast and our page.
Yeah.
Even our highly critical friend Austin. He
reads
normally
like 2 comic books.
Yeah.
And Hot Shot's one of them.
Yeah. So I mean, it's very good. Publisher with all kinds of great books. And while you're down there at Wizard World in Columbus, stop at the Columbus Convention Center, 500 North High Street, and visit Heroes and Games. It is a phenomenal store. It is the geekdom oasis for Central Ohio.
It's nice.
Oh, it is. If you need comic books, manga, anime, movies, video games, board games, card games, miniature games.
Random snacks,
t-shirts, action figures. If it is geek-related tangentially, do you need monogrammed geek, like key cozies? They might not have them, but their owner of that store, Doug, he can find it.
They even have these little weird, little figurine guys. They're made out of, rubber and stuff. I think you got, Pokemon ones.
Little Pokemon. Or the buttons, the sheer number of buttons.
Oh, yeah.
And occasionally they have some really great, it's pixel artwork by a local artist named Ren McKenzie. It is some of the best pixel artwork you're ever going to see. I actually recommend if you're going to be at Wizard World, I bet you money he'll have a booth there. Stop by and pick it up, because it's great.
Don't ask him to draw anything with Sharpie marker.
Yeah, because he's better than that.
Just
and we know he's better than that.
Yeah.
And he would never stoop that low. Mr. Watson! We remember! Because, even on this new one, we're not going to let any of the jokes about Watson die.
Oh, of course.
He would be watching this right now, but he's running from gorillas.
Oh, of course.
Which is more topical right now than it should be. But yeah, those are our sponsors. We well, not our sponsors, but those are who we promote. We love them. They're great people.
Mm-hmm.
Also, something to look at if you want to stick to just strictly gaming. Guard Tower in Columbus. It's the Guard Tower. I should clarify that.
Yeah.
Located on is it Trabue? Is it Trabue Road? I think it's Trabue Road.
I'm terrible with directions, man.
That's true. I try to tell you to go. I try to tell you to go straight, and you never do. But no, it's Trabue Road, the Guard Tower. It's an awesome gaming store.
And they got good prices too.
They do. They have some of the best prices in Columbus, hands down.
I always go to a game store expecting to spend $6,000, There I only spent like 5,000. So
Oh yeah, so it's a solid percentage off. So yeah, Geekdom, Heroes and Games, Strictly Gaming, The Guard Tower. 2 phenomenal stores located in Central Ohio, and you can find both of them online if you're not from Central Ohio. Give their Facebook pages a like, and we'd appreciate it. I think that's all for today, though, don't you?
Well, one last thing. Speaking of Guard Tower, they were even willing to order me some specialty pieces.
And we all do know that Levi needs things that are special.
Just for you.
Thank you, and good night.
Still good, but you drink it when you're not eating anything because you want to get all the flavor from it.
Makes sense.
All right. It's recording.
And we're the back with more of our Grandpa on the Couch comic book review. I remember back in my day I could get an entire graphic novel for a nickel, and it came with a raspberry sundae and an egg cream. Oh, you kids today, you don't even know what an egg cream is. Reminds me of a time I went fishing for a boot. I caught it too. I ate the whole boot. People talk about how tough those boots are, but back in the Depression, you either ate boots or you ate the hobos. And hobos are harder to cut than a boot. I went all the way through my systems. I had a circulatory. So that's true. I went through my bloodstream. Came out my anus. And the shoelaces were tied. Kids today thinking it's impressive tying cherry stems. I tied a double fisherman's knot in a boot that I ate. Well, anyhow, I suppose I'll let Aaron take it away with his wonderful reviews of these whippersnapping comic books. Hail Hydra. Well, thanks, Grandpa. All right, well, we're going to start off with the new DC books. For the new Rebirth line, I picked up all the Rebirth ones this week just to see what it was like. And I'm going to start with the one that was the biggest letdown for me. I'll be honest, it hurt to say that, but Batman Rebirth #1, it killed me. I was very disappointed in this book, which is terrible because I was looking forward to it. Now, looking right here at the covers, now the one thing I'm going to just complain about real quick is every one of these covers is very plain. It is the character or characters on a DC logo, blue header, white background. It is some of the most bland, most uninspired covers I've seen to date. And coming from DC, who had done the recent Color Your Own covers, that says a whole lot. Now, the main villain of this book is Calendar Man. It takes a lot of creativity to make Calendar Man a viable threat. And I'm not getting that from this book. I never got one time throughout this book that I needed to actually worry about Calendar Man. They make it seem like he's a great thing, but he exists in this book almost as a creative writing device. At one point they're like, so he just, every time the seasons change, he evolves and he molts and he comes back better. How do we fight something like that? And Batman looks at his new partner. Well, we become better. I feel like the entirety of Calendar Man's contribution to this book was so that Batman could say that line. I'm a little bit disappointed that, we get a setup for his new partner, which is cool. And we get a conversation with Lucius Fox, which is a phenomenal back and forth between Fox and Bruce. But it's definitely heavy-handed. Because it has Bruce working out, hanging off the ledge of his helicopter platform on Wayne Tower. A little heavy-handed there, but this book does nothing for me from the precedent that the Rebirth book set up. Nothing on the 3 Jokers that they address in the DC Universe Rebirth book. Nothing on him finding the Watchman badge. Nothing at all that makes me feel like this is going to be a good story to go into it. There's the new character that they introduce you to, but you really don't get much on him either. Well, I guess new is not the correct term, but you don't get much on anybody in this book. It doesn't feel like a Rebirth. It feels like let us institute a one-off Batman pseudo-story to fill up some page space. And my biggest issue, the thing I'm going to bitch about endlessly when it comes to all of these Rebirth books, is that there is a solid amount of ad space. This right here is all ads in every book. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages of ads. Dead center, the middle of every one of these new Rebirth books. That is so lame. Come on, DC, I expect better. And then sure enough, at the very back of the book, more ads, more ads, more ads. So it's not like they saved you from having to have ads later in the book. This book is a good majority ads. I mean, no, I'm not going to say it's a majority ads, but when you consider that there's the, 1, 2, then the 8 other ones, so that's 10. You're rocking 10 pages of ads so far, going all the way to the end. You're picking up some more ones, here at the very end of the book. Let's see. Oh, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 pages of ads and nonsense. On a book that's already that plain from the outset, and for a book that's content is really not impressive, to not spend more time actually putting content into the book and putting in so many ads, I honestly felt like I was watching a short on YouTube where all I wanted to do was to just keep clicking play, but the book kept telling me, your book will resume in 3 seconds. Like, it did not do anything to inspire me. The characterization of the book, I will praise it. It was decent. The take on Calendar Man is fun, but nothing about this book inspires me. It doesn't stand out. It doesn't make me think, man, I want to read more Batman. It makes me think, oh, well, Batman kind of took a hit. So, I mean, this is my floater for the week out of the ones that I'm reviewing. This is my 1 out of 5 right here, and that's hard for me because I love Batman, but I appreciate Batman. Don't bring trash to my house and try and tell me it's a golden toilet. Now, the next one will let me down a little bit, but I'm also a little bit biased towards it because I really do enjoy Simon Baz, is the new Green Lanterns book. Green Lanterns Rebirth. Oh, look, we have that wonderful cover again that does nothing for us. And then, oh, well, would you look at that? There's some more ads. Then there's the 1,000,007 pages of ads in the middle. And then the identical ads at the back. So, we're 2 for 2 on the ads. If you can't tell, this is going to be continuous throughout these books. It was interesting to give Jessica a Green Lantern ring. However, the little cryptic text box at the beginning, oh, it's a hue of reddish white with a red border around it, and it's got this fluid texture to it. If you've read Green Lantern, it shouldn't surprise you who shows up at the end of this book because of it. But the Rogue Guardian opening a box that shines every color, is it a white ring? Is it a gray ring? What's it doing? Do we get any real information about it? No, we don't. Okay, well, we at least get Jessica and Simon. We get Simon Baz here. He's cleaning off his sister's house from all the, from all the trash that's on there. They're calling him terrorist and vandalizing the house. And with a show of good restraint, man, he's not using his Green Lantern ring to help clean it off faster. No, he's doing it by hand. And it's nice to see that the government agent who came by to talk to him, he offered to clean that off for him. He wanted to help. It's good to see some of the humanity brought back into the books like this, even if it's, only to demonstrate how inhuman some of the other characters can act throughout the course of it. Now, seeing both of them come up and then seeing them fight a Manhunter for the first time, that was neat, but then you quickly find out the Manhunter's a training drone sent by Hal Jordan, and you quickly lose any of that. Ooh, this was tough. The bickering between Jessica and Simon is the most agitating part of this book. We get our first Earth female Green Lantern and our first, Muslim Green Lantern. And instead of embracing the differences they have that make them unique here, they just won't shut up. Little digs at each other throughout the entire book. And it makes them seem more human, but it makes them both seem like unlikable douchebags. Like, I'm sorry. I really want to like him because I love Simon Baz. This is a low point for me personally with the character. I mean, I went out of my way to make sure I had his hero clicks, because I play hero clicks too. I enjoy the character, and this was kind of frustrating. I'm digging the more human aspect to him, but then you get, Green Lantern, Hal Jordan comes in to save the day. That's a beautiful entrance image. He's just flying down. Hey, I'm Hal Jordan. Just so everyone remembers, I am the Hal Jordan. I am the real Hal Jordan. All you other Hal Jordans. You get where I'm going with this reference here. So, I mean, it was nice. And you see him, dismantle the Manhunter training drone. So he's now, on any level, utilizing Manhunters. How? How did that go for the Guardians? Didn't go well, did it? No, it didn't. Sinestro Corps War, right? That wasn't too long ago. And what did they have on Sinestro's team? The robots. They had the robots. This is an ad, not robots, actually. Well, there's robots, but not what I'm looking for. Like, come on, Hal. And so then you go through this long diatribe of, well, they're bickering. And Hal gets annoyed. He fuses their recharge battery together. Their lantern, he fuses them together and says, hey, I'm sick of hearing you guys bitch. Work together so I know the Earth is in good hands, because I have to go make sure that the rest of my friends are still alive. But he doesn't leave them, to themselves. He leaves them to be trained by the Justice League, which that was a cool panel right there. And it was neat to see Hal saying, hey, let's get them trained. But then you go right back into the tragic tier writing of this book. And who is the main threat? Who is the villain? Atrocitus. Oh my God. And the dialogue. The prophecy said there was a blackest night, then the brightest day. But now comes something else. Soon it will be upon us. The Red Dawn. Really? Johns, that was your writing? You're better than that. And Atrocitus? Not a new villain. No. Atrocitus. And Bleeze and Dexstar, and we couldn't have done something new? It had to be Red Lanterns again? At this juncture, I'd have taken Black Hand for the Rebirth issue. Dust off an old villain. I mean, you're bringing Calendar Man in. Come on. I mean, the writing for the book, just overall, it was bipolar. It was amazing in one moment and terrible in the next. I mean, the book is completely par for me. It's a 3. Nothing awe-inspiring, but nothing I would say to throw in the trash over. It certainly wasn't Batman this week. Now, my last 2 books for me were both very good. I had a hard time deciding which one I liked better than the other. But my number 3 in line, or I guess my number 2 in line, whichever you want to say, whichever way you're looking at it, is Superman Rebirth. Once again, ads, cover, bitch about it. We're good. Okay, so.
Hi, we had to edit in this clip to edit out Aaron bitching again. This is G3.
Yeah, this book here it's good. I liked it a lot. It definitely deals with some of Superman's arrogance that you always see floating around in the back. His self-assuredness that he is always going to be right. It's something that it's entertaining to a degree, but in this one it becomes a little bit preachy. He's talking to Lana Lang. Lana's breaking into the Superman Memorial. She wants to steal New 52 Clark's remains and bury them back in Smallville with his parents like he wanted. Superman, on the other hand, is dead set to break him out and take him somewhere so that he can try and regenerate him like he was regenerated back on his Earth. This leads a lot into Superman thinking that, he is right, he knows what's going on. Well, he never tracked Superman to the Fortress of Solitude, so he has no idea where it is. I mean, I could handily point out that with Superman's speed, X-ray vision, super senses, that it should take him all of 10 minutes to find the Fortress of Solitude in the Earth. But we're not going to address that because his little bonding moment with Lana Lang was super filthy. They do make a huge reference, though, to the battle with Doomsday from Death of Superman, and they get you a 2-page spread. That is just lovely. It is a beautiful little moment, and they do a great job of actually, redrawing some of the fights from Death of Superman, and they even get that moment where he is laying in Lois's arms right before he died. But Superman does eventually, with Lana's help, find the new Fortress of Solitude. Yes, it took Lana's help to find it because she knew where it was. Right. Anyhow, but he eventually did find it, which is very, very good. And when he gets there, he asks the Solitude drones, find me the regeneration matrix. And the robots are like, bitch, don't exist in this universe. Which he had apparently not anticipated. That maybe this universe that was so different from his universe might be different. So he acknowledges that Superman's not coming back, at least not in any way, shape, and form that it can be controlled. He, there's a little heartfelt moment I'd like people to read in there that he does at the end there with the statues in the Fortress of Solitude. But then he comments that the world is going to need a Superman. And, the obvious implication is that, hey, Superman's back to being Superman as Superman because they killed Superman. Because they need a Superman. Otherwise, they don't have a Superman. That sentence alone is DC writing at its finest. But, it was good. It was entertaining. I really had no issues with it at all as a book. Like I said, it wasn't super awe-inspiring, and it was a solid 4 for me, just with the heartfelt moments and the references of the previous universe, all that. It felt like it tied in much better to DC Rebirth than the other 2 books had. And that tie-in is exactly why the last book in the order is rated as high as I do, because not only does it tie in, it feels like its own book, and it incites feels on a profound level. And please ignore how bad the cover is. I'm not even complaining about it in the normal way. I'll show you the cover right here. They made Black Canary look like she is some new-aged Barbie doll thing. Come on. I'll tell you what, it almost threw me off of the book. I looked at the cover and I was like, But then, my grandma scolded me, "Well, Aaron, you don't judge a book by its cover. You read that whole thing." Yes, Grandma, I'll read the whole thing. I'm not super sold on the artwork. Not really feeling it. But it's growing on me. Okay, I'm digging the artwork. The artwork grows on you real quick. They still do make, Black Canary have that pseudo beach bod bimbo feel to her, but, it gets better as the book progresses. It's that first bad angle. And I end up liking her design a lot in this book. I love Oliver's design throughout the course of the book. His shaving back into the old goatee, all that. And you get to see their rapport with each other. They haven't really met each other in this universe. But their relationship was so strong that parts of them remembers the old universe or the old timeline or whatever it was, and they're connected. And so this wonderful relationship that existed before Flashpoint, before the New 52, is rekindling in the new book. And it's really nice. And, just something about it just does it for me. I don't know really a better way of saying it than that. But seeing those two back together, not just working as a team, but connected as a team, there was a lot of good to it. And they're bickering. Oh my God. Ollie trying to have a point, and then Black Canary methodically shredding anything he was saying. And Ollie being like, "I finally won," and Black Canary being like, "One up, story time," and him just, "I have a goatee." That was basically their conversations, was, "I have a goatee." Because she methodically shredded all this stuff. It was great to read. It was this very, very coy back and forth that even when it seemed heated, you could tell there was some weird romantic feelings between them, and they could not explain it. And they start talking at the end of the book, and the end of the book pans in on just their two faces as their lips are close about to kiss, and you hear, "Oliver Queen, nice to meet you." And Black Canary's response is, "Finally." And I think that perfectly sums up, every fan's feeling on their relationship. Every fan that liked them before together, the great relationship they had, that sums it up well. I know I personally did. It was my highlight for the week, was their relationship getting back together. The artwork was great. I really judged it too harshly to begin with. Not some of my favorite artwork. I would say the artwork as a whole was actually the low part of the book. But the characterization the storytelling, the way that it felt like it synced up with the rest of Rebirth, all of that together made for an enjoyable experience, and definitely my highlight book. I'm still going to put it up there on a 4.5, you know, not groundbreaking, not the most best thing I've ever read, but it was my favorite book that I read this week or last week. I was super excited about it, and that's not even kind of just the stuff I'm reviewing, but any book that I've read in the last 2 weeks, that was my favorite. I was going to review Injustice this week, but man, issue 11 for this year did not do anything for me. So that honorable mention that we got there would have been for Injustice, but I'm just not doing it this week. I'm not giving DC the satisfaction of being allowed to cut it short here at the end of a good storyline. Get it better. Get issue 12 ready. But yeah, this has been Comic Books on the Couch with Grandpa. As a member of F7, B12. Oh, that's a vitamin. Vitamins. I take my vitamins today. I don't remember. I take my ginkgo biloba. Oh, that reminds me. The nurse is coming over today. I have to refill my Viagra. But anyhow, thank you for tuning in, and this has been G3 Production Meteors. G3 Media. G3 Media. Gestalt Gaming and Geekdom. You have a wonderful evening, sonnies and lasses and non-binary people.